is the ECD Center Assessment Tool. And number 6, the existing budgets and resource.
I think we pause there first so that now we can address the issues on ECD and then we come to TVET. Honorable Senators, who is ready to go? Senator Murango. Unfortunately, Honorable Senator Cherengei, you will have to come last. Senator Murango.
Thank you, Chair.
Your Excellency, please note the questions so that we can answer them in batches.
Asante sana Mheshimiwa Mwenyekiti. Maswali yangu itakuwa machache kwa gavana. Moja ni kwamba juzi tulikuwa na Senator wa Nakuru. Na takwimu gavana Nakuru alikuwa senator pia, nadhani ndio maana kidogo nakosea. Na takwimu ambazo walileta Mheshimiwa Mwenyekiti ni kwamba darasa moja pamoja na kuweka vifaa ambavyo vinafaa kuwekwa katika lile darasa la ECD ilikuwa inagharimu takriban shilingi milioni 1.8. Nikifanya hesabu yako Gavana Sang, ni kwamba katika ujenzi wa hilo darasa pamoja na kuweka vifaa kama zamani furnitures ndani, Nandi inagharimu takriban milioni 2.5. Ningetaka nijue ni kwa nini kuna utofauti katika bei ya kujenga na kuweka zamani katika madaraja ya watoto wa chekechea. Swali langu la pili ni katika mpango mzima wa kupatia watoto lishe. Katika magavana wao wamekuja hapa, pamoja ni gavana wa Nakuru, gavana wa Bomet, gavana wa Kericho, gavana wa Sinigishu. Wote gavana waliokuja hapa wako na mpango maalum wa kupatia watoto lishe ambao ni muhimu sana kuhakikisha kwamba watoto wanaenda shuleni. Najua katika Nandi kuna kama zile Somba, Sogol, Kapchorwa, Terik, Chemilo, Chemase na zingine ambao mwenyewe umedhibitisha kwamba hata walimu wa zile shule za chekechea wanapewa pesa maalum kwa sababu yale maeneo yana ugumu wa maisha. Kusema kwamba pia katika watoto wa chekechea pia wana ugumu wa maisha. Kwa nini hujafikiria kuwa na mpango maalum wa kuhakikisha kwamba unapatia watoto lishe ili waweze kuja shuleni? Mheshimiwa Mwenyekiti, swali langu la mwisho kiataka nijue ya kwamba katika eneo la Nandi kuna madarasa yoyote ya chekechea ambayo imejengwa katika mashamba binafsi ambayo si ya kiserikali? Alafu utatuelezea ni kwa nini, kwa sababu tumepatana na jambo hilo katika gatuzi zingine. Na ya mwisho ambayo utajibu baadaye ni kwamba kama gavana ambaye tunasema ni mchanga kimiaka, lazima kuwe na ubunifu. Kumekuwa na gharama kubwa sana, nimeona natumia takriban shilingi milioni 250 kuweka zamani ambazo ni furnitures katika shule za chekechea. Lakini juzi katika msitu wa Kemondi, serikali kuu kupitia wizara ya misitu wamekuwa akiuza miti, na najua huko na vio maalum VCT ambazo mnafunza useremala na mambo kama hivyo. Kwa nini msiwe wabunifu kidogo, kwamba kama ile miti kama serikali ya gatuzi mnaweza inunua alafu mkapeleka katika wale watoto wetu katika zile vio vya VCT waweze kumjengea zamani na madawati ili kupunguza gharama na kuhakikisha kwamba watu wetu wanapata maendeleo. Asante sana Mheshimiwa Mwenyekiti.
Thank you, Senator Murango. Yes, Senator Kenywa, please go on record. Senator Kenywa.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm sorry for coming in late. Karibu, Governor. My name is John Kenywa, Senator of Laikipia, member of this committee. Chair, let me first follow where members are asking, and I hope they ask my question.
No, your question has not been touched, and you will be very disappointed because on your best line, he has done nothing on that. Senator...
Are you talking about Governor Sang doing nothing?
On that particular issue.
Okay.
Senator Kamar.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I know Senator Kenywa's question is coming, but I'm also asking myself, Nandi is a very rich country. Food-wise, where I was born, if you wanted food, you go to Nandi, and they don't give you water to drink, they give you milk to drink. That's what we know about Nandi. So the question of food in an ECD is something that we really need to worry about if it is not being given. But you'll tell us why it became very difficult for you to serve even porridge. Governor, we know that children by 10 are restless if there is no food. So I don't know how they're surviving up to midday. But you can make a comment on that. But I know Kenya's adrenaline is going up because of that one. I've seen the samples of the classrooms, and thank you, Governor. I think this sample is good. But I have a question always about the shape of the desk that we give to our children. Because if you put children in a row, they fight over the row. Because you know kids like space and they like to own their space. I remember the first governors had a model that was called the hexagonal desk. And the hexagonal desk was very useful for the teacher as well as the children. Because one, every child has their own space, and two, they can be taught from any modeling or whatever can be put at the center. I don't know where it disappeared. Currently, out of the 14, we are at least lucky we have found about 4 who still have hexagonal tables. Did you have before and you dropped, or it is something that has not come to your mind? Number 3, when we talk of 2 classrooms and a toilet, that is standard, we are happy with that. But what is in the playground of these children? Do we have playing equipment for them? Because, you know, for them it is play, learn how to behave between themselves. How are your playgrounds? Do we have any? Finally, is the numbers. By the way, I hope the Secretariat will help your Secretariat Governor to use tables more than narratives, because tables are very easy. And you have very good explanation of question number 1. We lost a lot because we are seeing 120, we see a figure of 78 million. We are not able to compare. It helps when they're in a table. All your other tables are very informative, but this first one is very good. It's very good to have it on a table so that you know what you have allocated to education. Out of that, what has gone to bursary, what has gone to VTCs, what has gone to ECDs. It helps us compare quickly, and in our final report to the House, we'll be comparing all counties. So it may be necessary that they transform that. But my last question, Chair, was on the transition. We know Nandi County has a lot of students in secondary schools. Nandi secondary schools have a good population in North Rift. I think it's the second highest to Kericho. That's where we have a very good population. What is the percentage of these students going to the university? And I'm asking that because I know it is less than 50%. And when it is less than 50%, where are the other 50%? In relation to both your exit strategies to VTCs, and also how is the transition in Nandi from primary to secondary? Because the minute we understand the transition to secondary, then as the father of the county, you know the load you have of those who have left, who are nowhere. Because we have a lot of young people and parents who believe finishing class 8 as finished. And now we're in a critical situation because of CPC. So there is an issue on transition that we need to still look at. You may wish to answer that one now, or you can transfer it to when we are dealing with VTC so that you tell us how much you are offloading of the class 8s to VTCs and how many you are offloading to TTIs and wherever. I think I'll leave it at that for now. Chair.
Thank you, Senator Kamar. Before Kenya gets ready, I think I want to add, Your Excellency, a question on the infrastructure cost, which you've given at 2.342 classes. Your Excellency, you know, whatever the guidelines given is we have to have the toilet blocks suitable for those kids of that age. We also have to have water at the center. So I don't know whether that is included in your 2.3 for the two classes, because looking at it then, if you're quoting 2.3 for two classes only, then that cost is a little bit high compared to all what we've seen from other counties, but you tell us that. You've also, on page 2, you have indicated that the total number of learners is 36,156. Again, on page 4, the total number is indicated as 36,946. So I don't know which one you want us to go with. And then getting there, I was trying to get if you've given us details on students to ratio per center, because what we were getting is what we're getting from other governors, as Senator Kamara has put it very well. Tables actually talk better and make it easier for you and for us also to inquire or to follow what we are looking for. We would have wanted to see a detailed table of every center, how many learners are in that center and how many teachers are in that center. That, if you don't have, Your Excellency, you can provide later, but it's very important for us, because I want to believe that the ratio you've given of 26 is not the ratio across the county. There are some places, I'm sure, where we have more learners than that. So we need to see that. And also, you've also indicated that in your budgets of 2025, you are going to be in line with the CRC guidelines. So you've indicated, and you know very well, that the degree holders are not in that are not anywhere in the CRC guidelines. So I don't know where you are putting them, and even in your budgets, how you are categorizing that. I don't know that it is in your county, you've done it in your county policy, so we should know. And if it is in your policy, please can we have a copy of that policy? I think that we are okay. Senator Cheragai, please, if you could allow him to answer that, so that you can come in now with your questions and Kenya. Your Excellency, now you can answer that.
Thank you, Chair. The first question with regard to the cost of doing an ECD center. This cost has been worked on by the Department of Public Works, and previously we used to have it at about 1.9 when we started, 1.8, 1.9 average when we started. Then it became difficult for us to, the contractors were unable to complete the projects in good time, and the issue that was being raised was the cost. And the cost here is contributed by a number of factors, including accessibility to some of those areas. If you look at how our ECD centers are situated, the priority, because these are not all we have not done all the schools. We are starting, it is always priority. And there is a tendency, rightfully so, to start with some of the ECDs in some of the most remote areas, because they are not, most of them are not covered. They are in remote areas, inaccessible areas. So sometimes the cost of even transport alone contributes in a very bigger way. So this average of 2.3 is the average figure. You will find others at 1.9, you will find others at 2, you will find others at even 2.4, depending on the exact location. I will give one example of an ECD center that we did in a very remote area, that even the materials had to be transported, in other situations, even by a donkey, because the satellite, this is one of the satellite ECD center in a very remote area, that while the Public Works and the Ministry of Transport is still working on the road, the ECD center has to be built, and sometimes you
Sorry to interfere with you, Governor, on that one.
Yeah.
We have analyzed the 14.
Yeah.
And we want to help you that in the 10th Parliament where I was, we ran away from Public Works. We abandoned it completely. And you need to have your own, I hope you have your Public Works officer who is under your office.
Yeah.
Let them do valuation again, because everybody is now running away from Public Works. Public Works has a way of giving us figures. In the 10th Parliament, we banned them. You give them, they give you an estimation, you go and build a classroom for half the price. So I'm just giving you a tip that that Public Works issue needs to be sorted out, and we have listened to that. You can go to the next question.
Madam Chair, on a point of order, because I've just come right now, I had Governor saying that in some areas of Nandi, they transport material using donkeys.
Yes.
In an ECD, where you expect the small kids to be going to the same school. And it's wrong, because I am suspecting the routes there are supposed to be done by the county government. Has the governor done something about roads before? Because seriously, it's his duty. And where he's taking with donkeys is the same place you expect small kids to be going to school. What about if it rains?
We'll add that to your questions. Yes. Just continue. Yeah.
And I am saying that because of one specific, I am giving one specific ECD center in a place, and I know my senator knows Pemja, where completely, you know, the accessibility to the place was completely impossible. We have, of course, you know, subsequently done the road, but that was one of the ECD centers that we started with, and for us, really, we wanted to start from some of the most disadvantaged areas, even as we approach to the other areas that are more accessible. So I think I note your comments on Public Works and how to review that. That is well noted. The second question was from Murango, was with regard to the meals in our counties, in our ECD centers. And I want to say this, Chair, when I ran for office, one of my priority areas was that I was keen on school feeding program, particularly for milk, you know, providing milk in our schools. But as you do public participation and you sit down with the parents in their schools and you listen to some of the concerns, the very first concern that we were getting is how to deal with our teachers. Because in most of those centers, the teachers were being employed by the parents, and they are telling you, can you help us sort out, you know, the burden of paying teachers, because this is one of the costs that is on us. So when you start by ensuring that you employ at least 1 or 2 teachers per ECD center. The second one, the parents will tell you, and you can see even the environment, that the learning environment is not good. The classroom is completely in a shape and a state that is not good for the children. So you then give it as another second priority. The third one is then you would then think of this other one of feeding children, having sorted out the basics. Our program then as a county, we say, because we have to complement what we are doing under education with some of the programs under agriculture, and we are working on a program where we are almost done with a milk processing plant. We have worked on a program around milk production in our county. Our intention, Chair, is that we will then move into milk school feeding program under milk program, but specifically from our own factory and from our own farmers, so that we're able to buy this milk from our farmers and be able to process. And the first priority would be to give it to our children under our program on school feeding. So as we speak, I want to be categorical that for sure we do not have a school feeding program for our schools at the moment.
Chair, if I can interject on that, Your Excellency, I'm just listening to you and I'm wondering, yes, it is important that you've done the infrastructure and you've given them teachers, but one of the most important things is to bring up, to those kids at that tender age is where you start their foundation. And I am sure, and especially for most of you people are young, for some of us who went to school when a little bit earlier, when the plenty was not there, it's not easy to actually have a good foundation on children on empty stomachs. As you've been told by Professor here, Professor of Education, and also as a mother, honestly, keeping a child in school from morning to lunchtime on an empty stomach, and I think that is why it was put as a requirement. And you are the father of the county. That is a very, very important aspect of why this ECD was devolved, so that the fathers and the mothers of the counties can take care of these kids. Your Excellency, it's disappointing to hear that, because Nandi is a rich county. If I tell you, out of the 15 or so counties we've met, I think it is you now and Kitui coming in, and we will not compare county and Kitui without a feeding program. All the others are even moving now to lunch programs. So I think it's a very, very important issue that you have to really give. And I don't think you've given it priority in 2025, because I can see in 2025 the priority you've given is on salaries to the teachers. So I think that is one aspect that we as a committee feel that you really have to look into that issue.
Mheshimiwa Gavana, katika swali langu tangulizi ambalo unajaribu kujibu, mimi sinjaridhika kwa sababu wewe, hii sio awamu ya kwanza kuwa gavana. Hii ni awamu yako ya pili, unaelekea miaka 8. Magavana ambao wamekuja nyuma yako, wengine na wakapata hali kama ile, tayari wako na mpango maalum. Na unajua tunakubaliana ya kwamba kuna mazingira magumu, kuna ugumu, kuna sehemu ambazo ni kame na zina mazingira magumu. Gavana, umetangulia kupatia nafasi ya kwanza walimu ambao ni nzuri, ili kuwapatia mishahara kwa sababu wanafanya kazi katika mazingira magumu. Jambo la pili, umepatia madarasa, ujenzi wa madarasa umeupatia pia kipaumbele kwanza kuhakikisha kwamba umejenga. Lakini pia watoto wa chekechea ambao wanafaa kusomea katika shule zile, wale watoto hukua, sio kama kisiki. Ni kusema ambao walikosa shule wakati ulianza kama gavana kwa sababu ya hariba na ukosa na kuwa wanakosa lishe, tayari washaondoka. Huwezi kuwarudisha tena darasani. Kuna mambo ambayo ni muhimu sana kuangalia gavana. Ukipatia kichana mzee ambaye amezeeka, ambayo sasa kuna upara, umnunulie kichana kama zawadi, inakuwa ni kama kejeli. Utakuwa umechelewa sana, watoto wakiwa washapoteza nafasi kwa kupatia kipaumbele mambo mengine. Jaribu kusawasisha, na ikiwezekana kabla hujatoka, kama venye umeambiwa kwamba hakikisha kwamba umeacha kwamba watoto wa Nandi wanafaidika na lishe na wanarutubika ili waweze kusoma. Asante sana Mheshimiwa Mwenyekiti.
We're just wondering, Governor, maybe in addition, whether you have actually done the costing of that feeding program. Because sometimes when you cost, then you want the Kumbe milk. As I say, Nandis can even donate milk for free for children. And I don't know, are they actually parents taking care of it?
In most, and I will give, just yesterday alone, I visited one school, and sitting down with them, the priority they were, from the school management to the board of the school and the parents who came, one of the priority were telling me, can you give us one more teacher? But I could see that they already have a school feeding program, and most of the primary schools, most of the ECD centers and primary schools have their own, parent-driven, school feeding program. That particular school, I even went to their kitchen, and that was just yesterday. But seated there, the parents are telling me, Governor, we need an extra teacher. We are still paying, you have already employed 2 for us, but there is a 3rd teacher, and we want you to consider giving us an extra teacher. So in a situation where you are seated there, that is an example of just yesterday at Kiblengwai Primary School, where the kitchen was operational. They have meals for their students, and the critical priority for that school was the mention of the word an extra teacher, so that then we do not have to pay. So I think, and quite a number of them have this school feeding program. You go to them and you are opening an ECD center, they tell you we have a school feeding program. If Governor, as you give tea or bread for the primary school and any other person, sisi utununulie sukari, we are providing milk for porridge for our children, we are providing this. So it has almost evolved as a responsibility that most parents are taking care of. But again, I think what Senator Murango and what the committee is saying is something that I definitely promise to give some bit of attention in terms of one, costing, as you say, but more importantly for us, really, we were looking at integrating the program on school feeding with what we were doing in other departments. And I think I can assure this committee the school milk program, courtesy of an agricultural program that we have been running as a county, should be rolled out in the shortest time possible. But yeah, that is the situation, Chair.
Thank you. Through the chair, Your Excellency, maybe you said you have a monitoring unit. Maybe from the monitoring unit, you could give us the number of centers where parents, because that is a bit encouraging. Because to us, saying that you don't have it completely is disheartening. Notwithstanding the fact that is a requirement, but if your monitoring unit can maybe give us a list of the centers where parents have taken responsibility, so that at least we know that by the time you start yours, Nandi County will be covered.
I think, Chair, I agree. We can do an additional table on each, as we give, the breakdown per ECD center. We can actually include that particular one in terms of the ECD centers that are running their own, feeding program. And maybe also one of the other things that we have, and the choice, part of the choice of our preference for milk program other than any other is also informed by the nutrition. We got a report on the nutrition status of our county, and we realized that even as we work on any feeding program, it has to be nutrition sensitive, so that it complements already what our children are missing out. So we can do that as an additional table and information that we can provide to the committee.
Thank you. Next one. But also, there is also something else emerging. Clarification of caregivers and teachers. Are they the same?
Yeah, previously when we came in, the scheme of service had not captured teachers, and therefore, for purposes of county governments employing in the first administration, they use the word caregivers. But now with the transition under new scheme of service, they are now teachers. Yes. Yeah. The second, I think there was an issue on ECD centers on private land. As we speak right now, we do not have any specific case of ECD center built on private land. However, the challenge that we still have is that all ECD centers are not titled, and therefore really, some of the land could be known by the communities as being land for primary schools, and in our case, most of them are actually built on primary school. So they are sitting on land that is under primary school. There could be 1 or 2 or 3 cases of situations situations where the primary school has not gotten title from the original owner who sold the land to the school, but we really do not have any particular issue as we speak right now in our county on ECD center built on private lands. There is a question on being industrious as a county to try and see how to reduce and cut the cost on furniture and trying to look at opportunities available. I would say, Chair, we started a program when we started the building of ECD centers. Our initial approach was to use our VTCs and provide them with resources so that the students and the trainees in our VTC centers help us in building ECD centers. We realized that their capacity was a bit, they were overwhelmed with that capacity, and we decided to still then go for contractual, for contracted services. We are now building the capacity of our ECD center, VTCs, and we think that moving forward, there could be a chance that we can use our VTCs to try and do some of these furniture for our schools, but we would say as at now, we have given you the samples, and we think some of those samples are better than, you know, the wood ones that could easily be built by our vocational training centers, but it is something that we can take up and see if we can be able to reduce that cost and utilize our vocational training centers. Again, your comments on the shape of the table is noted. If you look at the one that we have, the rectangular ones in most of our schools now, they are made in, the students are, or the learners are arranged in a manner that they can actually be taught from either side. It's better than the desks that we used to have. So we think that this one can work, but I think we could still pick up the hexagonal, structure, tables, and see whether we can actually improve and go on that, because we want to create a better environment for the same. Playing equipments, we provide again, the priority for us really has been what I have indicated, the teachers and the structures and the furniture. In a few of the schools, parents have contributed and parents are supporting in terms of some of those playing materials. We provide a little bit of the playing materials that are used within the classroom, but for the playing field, most of our children actually, you know, utilize the same field that our primary schools and lower primary schools are using. So as at now, because of the budgetary constraints, we have not been able to develop a, you know, an absolute program around school playing fields and equipment for the primary, for the ECD. Maybe again, as taking advice from what you have already advised us before, is that maybe costing a sample, you know, would help us, so that as you engage, you already know how much would it cost. And even some of the partners that we work with, you know, we have T estates in Nandi County, we have some of the corporates who could actually be willing to support. Then maybe what we need to do as a county would be just cost, look at what the model of a playing field that is required, so that if you then have a development partner or you want to do samples, you can then have a cost for that, and that is well.
And maybe, Governor, your chief officer or CC in charge of ECD can go and observe how children play with grown-up children, well, ECD kids actually play, because it's sometimes a disaster. They are pushed out, they can't play, they can't do anything. But when we are talking of ECD, we are talking of slides, we are talking of swings, we are talking of seesaws, in an isolated area that is theirs. Because we also went to a very sad situation where the ECD built their toilets close to the toilets of the other kids. And ECD children can't reach their toilets. By the time they reach there, they have even done their things on the way, because the grown-ups just walk in and push them out. Yeah. So separating them, even within the school compound, may be another idea that we throw to you. But let's allow you to finish your questions. I can see Kenya is ready with this.
So I think a number of those ones, the one on transition, we can handle that under the VTC, the responses for the under VTCs. And of course, we have noted tabling our responses in terms of tables is important. We can quickly convert some of those narrations into tables for better communication. For degree, again, I think for the SRC left out degree qualification. For us, we are using the scheme of for the degrees. We will use the scheme of service and our county public service. I mean the normal structure. You know, we have degree holders for the various jobs, whether it is human resource officer, whether it is anybody providing at that level. So we are using the job group for a degree holder for any other county staff. So that is going to cover in the meantime. But we still think that it is important for maybe even for you as a Senate to find out from SRC why, you know, a degree, so that then we get proper advice as to why the degree was left out. But for us, we will put them under the normal job group for all the other degree holders, for all the others, any other professional within the county.
See, I was just on the same. You want to tell me if you had a degree holder who is an agricultural officer, you'll pay them the same salary you're going to pay the ECD teacher?
The job group, yes, that is what we are looking at.
So that which is they start from which job group and how much do you pay them?
Job group K.
And how much do you pay them?
It is 32, and we can confirm that it's about 32.
The reason why I've brought that up is because we had the county of Nakuru, and what they've decided is even when they're advertising for the job of ECD teacher, they actually have a flat rate that this is where the starting salary is, and that's why you don't have maybe people will be feeling that as we are underpaid and maybe working more than those who are degree holders. So what the county government of Nakuru has done, they have standardized their entry level for ECD teachers, and I think it is working much better for them.
Yeah, maybe in addition, just for information again on that one, because that was a very good, interesting case, and we know what SRC will tell us. They'll tell us there are no resources to hire degree holders for ECD. But we hope at some point we'll have a conversation between the Committee of Education of COG, ourselves, and SRC on this. Because what Nakuru has done is very, very sharp. They are advertising for ECD teachers using the minimum level. They say those are the vacancies they have. If you go with your degree, you have to cope with the advert. And that is how they have managed to hire more. So I know each one, different counties are using different strategies to deal with this salary issue.
Actually, the difficulty is not even the entry point, because most of even these ECD teachers with degrees, they did not come with degrees. Somebody comes with a certificate, upgrades to a diploma. From diploma, they go for further studies, or they are able to upgrade to a degree. So that then the bigger question, and this happens you go to health, you go to agriculture, there is always, progression. When somebody does, and even in Teacher Service Commission, there has been a question around how do you deal with, a staff who has upgraded their qualification. But then there has to be a cap to this, because the question then would be, what would happen if all the diplomas upgrade to degrees? In any case, and for teaching, you don't actually need the degree. Even at the level of ECD, at certificate and diploma, you are already qualified, you already have. So this upgrade sometimes is motivated by somebody who thinks that then, with the upgrade, it comes with, a higher salary. If the scheme of service by the SRC it's clear that, you know, degree does not arise, then maybe somebody who has done a degree, then you find a way to exit and do other things. But then we insist that then all our teachers remain at the level of degree, diploma and certificate. So I think it's something that, you know, of course you have sometimes CBS negotiated, you know, teachers call for industrial action, you sit down, you discuss, you engage. In a situation like this, when we had not gotten a proper scheme of service and advisory from SRC, we ended up, you know, treating our ECD teachers with a degree just like any other staff within the county. But I think the scheme of service for ECD teachers should be clear, and as we get that clarity, we should be able to just, you know, so that an ECD teacher knows you can upgrade from the certificate to diploma. That is the end of, you know, the scheme of service for ECD teachers. If you go for a degree, maybe then proceed also to a master's and probably PhD, and then go teach maybe in colleges or in the universities. I think that for us is something that we are looking at.
Thank you, Excellency. I think I'm reminded that you wanted to leave at 11, and we agreed on that as a committee that we are going to be brief. So, Senator Kenywa, what we have, we can send them as supplementary questions, which the governor can send them back to the committee. Senator Kenywa, please.
Okay, first, Madam Chair, we need to be sending to the governor's template of how we want our questions answered, so that at least you don't hear every time the governor is saying, I'm going to put an extra table. So it's up to us to be sending the template so that we can get what we want, our question answered. My first question is, Governor, have you inherited any teachers from the defunct local authority? And if you have inherited, how much are you paying them vis-a-vis how much you're paying the ones that are recruited currently? What is the size of a classroom that you are doing? Are there standard that's required, the size of the classroom that you are doing for these ECD children? Do you have any installed ECD in your county? If you have, how many are they, and what are you doing to install them? Governor Sang, you know, I have been saying so much about you here, hoping you'll do the best. And in terms,